Hey everybody, it's Buckeye Boggs from the OHIO podcast. I'm glad that you decided to join me for another edition of What's Buggin' Boggsy. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and quite frankly, I debated whether or not I should record this video because I'm going to be quite honest with you today. I'm very upset. And this video is going to have kind of a serious tone to it today. You know, a lot of what I do is poking fun and prodding the fans from that team up north. But this week, something came across my desk, if you will, that upset me. And it upset me because in my past, I've worked, I've had various jobs at times where I have been in charge of youth sports programs. I've coached my own children in sports, and I was coached by my dad in youth sports. And I had an absolute wonderful upbringing. And I thank the good Lord every single day that God placed me in the family He did, and that I got to raise and was raised in the community that I was raised in, spending a lot of time at the ballpark, spending a lot of time in the gymnasium with my family and with my father and my older brother and all my friends and my older brother's friends. And I had an amazing childhood that really shaped the adult that I've become today. And it upsets me to no end to watch youth sports become monetized the way that it has become. And quite frankly, the competitiveness of it has filtered down into the youth arena that was designed initially to be a place of fun, a place to spend your summer days. My favorite movie is The Sandlot. And in a lot of ways, growing up in Mount Vernon, Ohio, the way the Little League, City Little League used to be ran was a lot like The Sandlot, and it was great. I remember staying up until the lights turned on at the ball field all summer long, playing baseball with friends and pickleball. Back when pickleball was actually what we played when you would go back and forth between running between the bases, not the pickleball everybody plays today over at what used to be the local tennis courts. But I have watched our culture and our society destroy the innocence of youth athletics. And this week, a story hit that, quite frankly, I'm just not going to leave alone. I thought, it'd be better if I just not say anything and be quiet about this, but I'm not going to be, because the more I thought about it and the more I have seen young people today be affected by things on social media in a negative light, the more I want to put a spotlight on this. And I think more people who have a platform, whether it's small like this or it's much larger, need to shine a spotlight on the exploitation of certain adults when it comes to kids in their childhood centered around athletics. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong, and it needs to be dealt with. And so I'm going to deal with it on my platform today. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you don't like it, move along. You don't have to. You don't have to watch any more of it. Or if you disagree and you want to have a conversation down in the chat, a civil conversation about why you might disagree, I'm happy to have a good, healthy, honest discussion and debate about that. But what I want to do is I want to talk about this today. My stepson, who's in seventh grade, when he heard me mention this child's name, knew who this kid was. Social media is something that I did not have to grow up with when I was younger in the 90s. And really, it was something that even my oldest child, who's in college now, really didn't have to deal with until he was in high school, and it started to become more popular when he was in high school. But this kind of stuff right here is ridiculous. Now, I know that this is just a publicity stunt. You can't commit to a school that hasn't officially offered you. I get it. I know it's a joke. But underneath the joke is some very serious issues that I want to talk about, and some people who are taking this and using it to try to build their own platforms up is absolutely wrong and needs to be dealt with. And that's what I hope this video does. For those of you who don't know who this young child is, this is a fifth grader from the state of Texas known as Baby Gronk. He is a very good athlete for his age. And let me be completely open and honest with you. How the fact that there are certain people who think they can watch a highlight film of a kid playing flag football or pee-wee football and think that they can say, hey, that kid is going to be a great athlete when that child is 17, 18 years old. You are insane if you really think that. Now, I understand there are great athletes. Tiger Woods was one. Tiger Woods was a great athlete when he was younger, but that's a completely different sport. Football is very different than the ability to hit a golf ball around a golf course or basketball, even. Usually, you can tell at a very young age if a child is going to be very good at basketball if he or she chooses to continue to work on that craft and they develop physically. This is fifth grade in a sport that is incredibly physical, that is based on things like genetics, based on things like diet, based on things like development. And I know you can control some of that. But to put expectations on a fifth grade child to get a college scholarship in 7 years down the road is insane to me. And quite frankly, the individuals who are doing this type of thing borderline on child abuse with how they are going about doing this. That's what I want to talk about today. This young child, this young boy, he's done nothing wrong here. He's done nothing wrong. He's a child. And quite frankly, those people who want to make fun of Baby Gronk, they're wrong too because he's a child. He's a minor. This is ridiculous stuff. So I want to read an article to you guys that was published by Bleacher Report um, and has been going around social media, especially those of us who are Ohio State fans, because as Baby Gronk has announced, and you saw in that picture, he has officially committed to Ohio State. Wink, wink, ha ha, chuckle, chuckle. Baby Gronk, whose real name is Madden San Miguel, made this public announcement on social media this past Friday, so yesterday. This coming after he had narrowed down his list to 30 possible schools that he was willing to attend in 2031. Yes, you heard that right. 2031. Some of the schools that he announced, or his father announced for him, I should say, that he was willing to attend included Colorado, Alabama, Georgia, USC, LSU, and that team up north, and of course, Ohio State, in which his father and he, Miguel, or Madden Miguel, went on a local fan podcast, very similar to my own here at the OHL podcast, for an interview with a couple podcasters who I'm not going to mention a name because I don't want to give them any publicity. But quite frankly, those two should probably just remove their podcast at this point. You want to talk about exploiting a child? Come on, guys. Ridiculous. Insane. Embarrassing, in fact. Absolutely embarrassing, and you should be ashamed of yourselves And I'm looking right at you and talk to you. And if you'd like to have a conversation with me about that, I'd absolutely love to talk to you about it because you guys are completely wrong for exploiting that child and giving his father a platform to speak to about this type of stuff. And the questions you asked, my goodness, treating him like he was a 16, 17-year-old five-star recruit in your questions. The kids just want to probably eat a Lunchable and go play Fortnite, for goodness sakes. Ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Anyways, the story goes on in Bleacher Report to talk that this young child is the son of I'm trying to look up his name here, Jake San Miguel. And Jake, in his interview, talked about how that his son is not the first baby that he has worked with as a marketing individual. He markets young athletes as baby so and so. He's created this kind of social business for himself where he exploits these children online. And by the way, Baby Gronk, his son, as he likes to call him, has committed to several schools before Ohio State only to decommit. I mean, this is totally a publicity stunt. But there's a part of this that is real. There's a part of this where Jake is using his son to become a social media influencer, if you will, to market him in such a way that he can gain financially from him. Some of you who've known the story know that his son has taken some very popular pictures that have gone viral with some very popular social media influencers and people within college college football. And so you guys remember the I guess it was the award ceremony a couple years ago when Will Smith walked on stage and smacked Chris Rock and told him to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. That's how I feel about what's going on with this. I want to walk up to Jake, his father, slap him across the face and say, "Keep Ohio State out of your mouth." Because this is ridiculous. This publicity stunt that you're doing using your fifth grade son in the way that you are to gain popularity for yourself. And he can deny that all he wants, but that's exactly what's happening here. This publicity stunt and now putting Ohio State's name attached to that really irates me. You know, Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, who you've probably never spoke to in your life. Did you know his father died from suicide? And you say, well, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have the suicide rate among teenagers in the United States, and I got this from ABC News. And this chart starts in 2001, the year after I graduated high school, and the year that I got my first cell phone, which is kind of funny to think about. It had an antenna on it. It was a flip phone with an antenna. Literally had to pull the antenna up before you could make a call. And how far we've come in technology, right? But as technology has grown, so has social media and things like Facebook. I remember getting my first Facebook page probably around 2006, 7, sometime around then. And then after Facebook, the next one, obviously, that gained ground, at least in my world or sphere that I lived, was Twitter. And now we have a lot of other things like TikTok and a lot of other social media that I don't even know what they are. I feel like Jim Trussell when it comes to this stuff, Twitters and twatters, as he famously called them at one time. But as social media has become more popular and the influence that social media has on young people, so have suicide rates increased. This is not a mistake. This is not something that should be laughed about or explained away. This is very real and a very huge problem in the United States. And something that a lot of people who are surrounding this story have not taken 5 minutes of their time to think about because they're too busy trying to get clicks themselves from this. And I know what Jake is going to say, or as they like to call him on that podcast, Mr. Gronk. Jake's going to say, you're getting clicks from this too. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to monetize this video at all. I could care less. I don't want to make a dime off this. But if I could help some parent somewhere second guess how they're approaching their child when it comes to athletics, then that's what this is all about for me. And this graph over here, to me, speaks volumes for what is wrong in our culture and in our society today, and how we approach developing the minds of young people and developing the hearts of young people, developing the bodies of young people and young athletes today. Like, I don't have a problem with the way he's approaching developing his son and making him into a great athlete, if indeed that's what his son chooses to want to do in his life. But I will warn you, I have seen it 100. If I've seen it 100 times, I've seen it 1,000 times. Parents push their child so much because they're living vicariously through their kid, by the way. Push them so much that when they get to high school, they don't even care anymore. They're like, they quit. They've lost the joy, the love, the drive because they've been pushed by their parent so hard in a sport. Sports were designed to teach us things like how to overcome, how to accept winning graciously, how to accept losing, and how to allow losing to motivate us to reach to be greater so that next time we don't lose. Those times of falling short and losing, those times of achieving goals and winning, those things are lost on our culture and society today when we push our children to be great and to be an influence on social media. Ridiculous. I have an article here written. Actually, it was written locally here by the WCAP Counseling Association, which is in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. So very close to where I am here in Central Ohio. And it talks about the social media conundrum among teens and their mental health. And there's a couple things I would like to point out here. That this was written by Luis Savoy. And Luis points out some of the negatives that social media plays on teenagers. The pressure to maintain a curated online image can lead to anxiety and stress among teens. Comparing oneself to others seemingly perfect lives can foster feelings and inadequacies and contribute to body image issues. Cyberbullying and prevalent concern on social media can severely impact a teen's mental health and well-being. Luis goes on to talk a little bit about how the mind is affected by social media. So the constant validation seeking and anticipation of social media notifications triggers dopamine releases in the brain, leading to addictive behavior in some teens. You ever seen the kid who's walking around with their cell phone and runs into a telephone pole because they aren't even aware of their surroundings? We've seen videos like that and we've laughed at them. But there's actually something pretty serious happening to here, especially in the mind. Goes on to addictive nature of social media can lead to a neglect of real world responsibilities and exacerbate feelings of isolation. Exacerbate feelings of isolation. How many times have we heard stories about young people who are on social media and they're so concerned about all these wonderful pictures that everybody posts? And look, I'm guilty of it too. I've posted pictures about how wonderful things are in my life, right? All the good times, all the highlights. I'm having so much fun, right? You've all seen it. The couple that seems like they're so much in love. They go on vacation all the time. Every picture's great. They're smiling and the next thing you hear, they've got a divorce. Why is that? You mean to tell me all those pictures weren't really what was happening behind the scenes? Of course not. Social media is a lie. It's fake. A lot of people call Facebook fake book. The reason why is because we all post how happy and how great everything is in our lives. We never post the times we're depressed, the times we're angry, the times we're frustrated. We don't post the bad times in our lives. We post only the great pictures of all the good times. That's why it's called fake book. But the constant trying to compete on social media with other people to gain one's influence or perceived influence on others is a very real thing that has contributed to the suicide rate of teenagers. And I'm not trying to say that this young child that they call Baby Gronk is going to one day commit suicide. God, I hope not. But can't you see the the uh, influence that's being pushed on this child to be somebody and how that would affect him in the future? I say shame on that father. Shame on you. Let the kid be a kid. And if he ends up being a great athlete and he wants to get on Twitter and say, I've narrowed down my list to 30 schools and then 20 schools and 15 schools because he deserves it because he's a good athlete, then fantastic job. Celebrate the achievement that child has made in his life to get to that point where he's going to one day earn a college scholarship and maybe even earn NIL dollars. But at fifth grade, exploiting him like the way you have, and then to have the people with a platform to put him out there in that way, you are setting this child up to fail and fall hard. How many times have we heard about the people in Hollywood, right? The people in Hollywood who the young children who were used as actors and actresses. And as they grew up and became adults, the mental issues they had, the suicide rates, the crazy things they get involved in. We're now going to take that and that crazy model that Hollywood has that everybody knows is wrong, and we're not going to apply that to sports and try to shove social media and use social media for these kids to create these images at fifth grade? That's insane. That is crazy. And to celebrate that, to bring them on your podcast and celebrate that, you don't deserve it. You show you don't deserve to have a platform when you're doing things like that. And it irates me that you would use a child in that form. That is a form of abuse. That is a form of abuse. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. You know, the article that was written in Bleacher Report, there's a great quote here that I want to point out to you. Um, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's not. Let's see if I can find it in the article here real fast. Um, yeah, here we go. Appearing on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, Rob Gronkowski, the namesake for Baby Gronk, said the situation is to the point where it's awkward and has gone too far. The man who said that, very quote, is this guy, the party animal himself, Rob Gronkowski, Gronk, right? The same guy who showed up in 2006 on his official visit to Ohio State hungover. That guy just said that this is awkward and has gone overboard. So when the party animal himself says this is too much, then you know it is way, way too much. That's what's bugging me. I got it off my chest. Do you agree with what I said? Hit the thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. You disagree? You think that I'm taking this overboard, or that my views on social media with teenagers is doesn't equate to this story? Again, I'm willing to debate you and have a conversation about that. Let me know in the comments below. You want to share this with other people? Feel free to do that as well. Again, I'm not trying to get extra clicks or gain any kind of popularity from this. I think that we need to shine a spotlight on this. This is unacceptable. Way, way too unacceptable. Way, way over the line, guys. Way, way over the line. Let the kid be a kid. Let him learn to lose. Let him learn to win. Let him have fun. Let him grow up. But most importantly, let him be a kid. We used to have that in America. I'm so thankful I got to be a kid. So thankful I got to grow up playing sports, having fun, learning how to lose, learning how to win. So thankful that my dad didn't try to make me the next Muggsy Bogues, Baby Bogues, right? He said, no, you just learn how to be Eric Boggs. That's good enough for me, son. That should be good enough for his dad, too, to learn how to be, the best Madden he can be and not try to be the next Gronk. Have a good day, everybody. Let's treat our children better. Let's give our children the upbringing they deserve, the positive nurturing that they deserve, a good community that they deserve, so that they one day can achieve and be great at whatever they choose to be. Because not everybody's going to get to be a Division I college football player. And even fewer get to go to the NFL. And even fewer than that become Hall of Famers. In 5th grade, you need to be a kid, not worry about being in the Hall of Fame. Till next time, go Bucks.